The Faculty Senate and teaching professor in the College of Arts and Sciences, leads the procession of the faculty along with Assistant Professor Arudis Foster, who is bearing the mace of Drexel University.
Oh, well, he came and got me.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as the Task Force Dragon Honor Guard posts our national colors and the Drexel University Chorus, under the direction of Professor Stephen Powell, sings our national anthem. Afterwards, please remain standing for the invocation by Rabbi Isabel D. Koenig on behalf of the Drexel University Interfaith Council.
As we come together to celebrate the beginning of this new academic year, let us pause to give thanks and honor to the source of all. Let us ask ourselves, what do we need to learn? What do we need to grow? What do we need to change ourselves, our university, and our world for the better? What blessings do we each need, and can we each bring to make this year truly transcendent? Students, faculty, and administrators, professional staff members, alumni, friends, and all those gathered today, let each of us bring the blessings of our hearts, our heads, and our hands to this year so that it may be even better than the last. In the words of the great poet Marcia Fonck, may the year bring abundant blessings, beauty, creativity, delight. May we be confident, courageous, and devoted to our callings. May our lives be enriched with education. May we find enjoyment in our work and fulfillment in our friendships. May we grow. May we have good health. In dark times, may we be sustained by gratitude and hope. May we be infused with joy. May we know intimacy and kindness. May we love without limit. May the hours be enhanced with music and nurtured by art. May our endeavors be marked by our originality. May we take pleasure in daily living. May we find peace within ourselves and help peace emerge in the world. May we receive the gifts of quiet. May reason guide our choices. May romance grace our lives. May our spirits be serene. May we find solace in solitude. May we embrace tolerance and truth and the understanding that underlies both. May we be inspired with vision and wonder. May we be open to exploration. May our deepest yearnings be fulfilled. May we be suffused with zeal for life. May we merit these blessings and so many more. And may they come to be. And may it be so. Thank you. Please be seated.
Thank you, Rabbi DeKoning. Good morning and welcome to the 2014 Drexel University Convocation. I'm James Herbert, Interim Provost of the University. Drexel University is privileged to be guided by outstanding trustees, several of whom are here today. I'd like to acknowledge them, Richard Greenwald, Bob Buckley, David Geltzer, Katie Hunt, George Creel, Tom Klein, Van Reiner, Stan Silberman, Ira Taffer, and Minturn Wright. So thank you, trustees, for joining us. So let me begin my remarks by saying how honored and deeply humbled I am by the opportunity to serve as interim provost for the coming year. I'd like to express my sincere thanks to President Fry for your confidence, your vote of confidence in my leadership. I'd like to also express my gratitude to Mark Greenberg for his guidance, collegiality, and friendship over the past summer as I transitioned into this role. We all owe an enormous debt of gratitude to Mark for his able and transformative leadership over the past 6 years. The progress that we will realize over the coming year, and indeed for many years to come, will be due in no small part to the foundation laid by Mark. I extend my warm greetings to the trustees, the senior university leadership, my fellow faculty members, the professional staff, and our students. I'd like to extend a special welcome to the faculty from the College of Medicine who join us today for the first time at this convocation as full and unqualified members of the Drexel University faculty. I was asked to share some thoughts today for the plans for the coming academic year. I'll try to keep my remarks brief, even though that's difficult for me, but I'll do my best. But I want to give a sense of my vision for tackling some of the key issues that we'll face in the coming months. So having served in another role previously in an interim role here at Drexel, there's one thing I've learned about this place, and that is it is far too dynamic and forward-moving for a leader, interim or otherwise, to merely keep the trains moving, keep the trains running on time. We're all far too ambitious for such an approach, and so we're compelled to move forward boldly and decisively. Consequently, I plan to work closely with my faculty colleagues, our students, President Fry, the deans and other senior administrators, and the Board of Trustees to advance key initiatives in our visionary strategic plan. I'll elaborate briefly on just a few of these initiatives that I believe to be the most critical for the coming year. This is not in any way meant to be an exhaustive list, but just to give you some of the key priorities that I look forward to pursuing together with you. Academic success, in terms of both research and scholarship as well as teaching, requires adequate infrastructure. We've made important progress over the past few years in establishing academic spaces that are commensurate with our aspirations, including such impressive projects as the Papadakis Integrated Sciences Building, the Urban Center, the renovated Stratton Hall, and the spectacular Jerry C. LeBeau Hall. These projects are complemented by the construction of new non-academic spaces, such as the Chestnut Square Complex and most recently, Perelman Plaza, all of which enrich the overall quality of life on our campus for all of us. Despite these gains, however, we still have too many faculty and students working in outdated laboratories, and we face an overall shortage of research, office, and classroom space. To begin to address this critical issue, the Provost's Office will work with the deans, university facilities, and others to identify needs and to develop and prioritize projects to meet those needs. While planning for new and renovated space, we must also ensure that we're using our current space in the most efficient possible way. Where necessary, rational reallocations of existing space must be undertaken to this end. My team will examine the program alignment and review project to determine any changes that need to be made to make the process more efficient and more effective. We'll also work to refine the action plans generated through the process and will continue to implement those plans. This will include an expansion of the faculty in some units, changes in leadership and cultural practices, and in some cases, significant structural reorganization. As one example, I look forward to working with Dean Marasco and her colleagues in the College of Arts and Sciences to reorganize the humanities and social sciences programs in that college. This process will set the stage for these programs to achieve great things, both in the context of their traditional disciplines as well as across disciplinary boundaries. In an effort to ensure that Drexel retains a leadership role in undergraduate education, we will work with the Faculty Senate and others to explore a number of curricular innovations. These include accelerated bachelor's programs, expanded travel-embedded courses, greater use of online and hybrid courses, and growth of our Global Classroom Initiative, amongst others. Although we've made important strides in building a more diverse faculty and student body, much work remains to be done. Together with Vice Provost Janet Fleetwood, I'll work with each faculty search committee to strengthen our efforts to recruit faculty from underrepresented groups. We will also explore ways to ensure that all of those who join our faculty are given the tools and support needed to succeed and flourish. A world-class university is known for its scholarly productivity, and great research requires robust graduate programs, particularly at the doctoral level. There's much work to be done to build on the strengths of our current graduate programs. We're currently working on a streamlined system for funding PhD students that will not only provide a more stable funding model, but will facilitate the growth of doctoral programs in key areas. There are many opportunities to take advantage of the legal consolidation of the College of Medicine within the university to develop interdisciplinary research and teaching programs across our campuses, all towards President Fry's vision of one university. We will support a joint Senate Administrative Committee on leadership of our graduate programs with an eye towards significantly expanding the graduate studies leadership position. A number of important changes in the way the university does business will unfold over the coming year. Working closely with our Chief Financial Officer, Helen Bowman, the academic enterprise will join the rest of the university in adopting the new Responsibility Center Management, or RCM, budgeting model. This new process will foster unprecedented transparency in the budgeting process and will empower colleges, departments, and programs to take more direct ownership of their destinies. We in the Provost's office will work closely with Helen's group, the deans, and the faculty to ensure as smooth a process as possible. Another key change involves the way we recruit, admit, and retain students. Over the past few weeks, I've had the good fortune of getting to know our new Senior Vice President for Enrollment Management and Student Success, Randy Dykey. Randy and I have already begun to work closely together to overhaul the way students are recruited to Drexel, as well as ensuring that we're better meeting the needs of those who do matriculate so that they can actually succeed, graduate, and move on to become proud Drexel alumni. We must ensure a strong connection between all of our activities and the core academic mission. To this end, I'm pleased to announce that Randy and I are currently in the process of conducting a thorough analysis of the Drexel network, including both our partnerships with local community colleges and our satellite campus in Sacramento. Our goal is to ascertain the viability of the current network programs and their alignment with Drexel's mission and strategic aspirations. Randy and I will offer our recommendations to President Fry regarding the future of the network going forward. We must also work to strengthen the link between our academic programs and civic engagement through our community partnership initiatives. I'm convinced that there are opportunities for synergies in this area that have yet to be fully realized. Each of these initiatives connects in one way or another with our ambitious and visionary strategic plan. I look forward to working with my faculty colleagues, President Fry, and others on a refresh of this important document. In summary, my overarching goals for the coming year are to advance the academic mission of the university and to set the stage for the recruitment of a strong provost who will work closely with the faculty, President Fry, the university leadership, the professional staff, and the students to move Drexel forward to new and greater heights. We can only make progress towards this goal, and indeed any of the initiatives that I've outlined this morning, by working together. It's fitting that this year's Convocation celebrates the faculty, We, the faculty, and yes, I still count myself as amongst the faculty's ranks, are the heart of the university. No initiative can be successful without the commitment of the faculty, and that includes the entire faculty, tenured, tenure track, teaching, clinical, research, and adjunct. The Drexel faculty is characterized by a unique blend of creativity, entrepreneurial spirit, collegiality, willingness to cross disciplinary boundaries, and sheer work ethic that I'm convinced just does not exist elsewhere. So I wish you all a healthy and successful new year, and I look forward to working together to make Drexel an even greater place to learn and innovate. Thank you. So now, to help commence the celebration, I'm pleased to introduce Richard Greenewalt, Chairman of Drexel's Board of Trustees. A 1966 graduate of Drexel, he's one of the university's most dedicated alumni and advisors. Welcome, Chairman Greenewalt.
Thank you, Dr. Herbert. The university community is excited to help you move Drexel's academic enterprise forward during your time as our interim provost. On behalf of the trustees of Drexel University, welcome to Convocation. This event is a celebration of the promise held by a new academic year, the past achievements that are the foundation for that promise, and the outstanding community that makes it possible for Drexel to accomplish so much. Today's, our featured speaker will be one of the most distinguished members of Drexel's faculty, Dr. Paula Morantz-Cohen. I look forward to hearing Dr. Cohen's perspective. And this is a great time to reiterate that Drexel's trustees are committed to helping faculty that can achieve great things. Our university has found new ways to serve society with our core strengths over the years. But the fulcrum of our mission remains the relationship between professor and student. The momentum of our discoveries comes from faculty researchers, and the character of our university is still defined by our faculty. I want to welcome those faculty members joining us for the first time today, as well as new and returning students and our professional staff. Thank you for coming together today, and have a great year. Thanks.
So it's now my distinct honor to introduce Drexel's president, John Anderson Fry.
Good morning, colleagues, and welcome to Convocation. Thank you for taking the time this morning to come together as an academic community, and it's my distinct privilege to be here with all of you today. James, let me first take a moment to express my deep appreciation to you for your service as interim provost. As you noted, even in a time of transition, the job of moving Drexel forward never stops, and I'm delighted to have the provost's office under your expert direction. Thank you for doing this, James. So we've had quite a memorable start to this academic year, our 123rd. The year began with a magnificent gift from Trustee Stan Silverman and his wife Jackie to endow the Silverman Family Professor of Entrepreneurial Leadership. Dr. Donna DeCarolis, the founding dean of the Close School of Entrepreneurship, is the first Silverman Family Professor. Stan and Jackie's gift of an endowed professorship was inspired in part by an event held last May to discuss endowed chairs and professorships, and specifically by the passionate comments during the lunch made by Professor Chuck Haas, the Betts Chair in Environmental Engineering, Dr. Eric Zilmer, the Pacifico Professor of Neuropsychology, and Faculty Senate Chair Dr. Ludo Sheffer, who organized and hosted this event. Quite inspirational. On September 4th, I joined Dr. Ken Lacavera and his team to announce that they had discovered Dreadnoughtus shrani, a new species of supermassive dinosaur with the most exceptionally complete skeleton ever found. Lacavera and his colleagues, which included Drexel graduate students, published the detailed description of their discovery, defining the genus and the species of Dreadnoughtus shrani in the journal Scientific Reports from the Nature Publishing Group. Even for an audience of reporters, academics, and university leaders, dinosaurs still have the power to spark a sense of childlike wonder and enormous national and international attention to boot. I am also pleased to announce to the Drexel community today that our ongoing research into smart textiles with biomedical sensing applications will receive a 3-year, $800,000 National Science Foundation grant to continue development. The products of this research include the belly band, a maternity garment that also monitors uterine contraction and fetal heart rate in real time. It's a wonderful example of what Drexel collaboration means, involving Professors Kapil Dandekar, Adam Fontecchio, and Timothy Kurzwig of the College of Engineering, and Professor Genevieve Dion of the Westfall College and the Shima Seike Laboratory in the Excite Center. So congratulations to those colleagues. Last Tuesday, we opened Perlman Plaza, the new crossroads on our campus. Shared public spaces, I believe, are essential to creating strong academic communities. And thanks to Ray Perlman, we now have the most spectacular shared space in Drexel's history. And Ray has since made another wonderful commitment to name the Raymond G. Perlman Center for Jewish Life at Drexel University to be located on North 34th Street in the heart of our residential campus. So pretty good so far. But as if this was not enough, on September 17th, I announced a landmark gift that will transform legal education at Drexel for generations to come. A $50 million commitment by trustee Tom Klein, one of America's most respected and influential trial lawyers, and a champion of the elevation of trial advocacy training for law students. Tom's vision and generosity will help our law school build the economic foundation needed to navigate today's challenging legal education climate. To commemorate this, the largest single gift in Drexel University's history, our law school will be named the Thomas R. Klein School of Law. Tom is with us today, so I suggest that we all thank him together. So it's been a really great few weeks for Drexel, and it's really fitting then that we gather together to celebrate our academic enterprise. This is the heart of our university and the wellspring of our success. First, we celebrate our students, including those who have just arrived at Drexel. Each year, our student body becomes more academically talented, more creative and entrepreneurial, and more committed to serving our neighbors. We also celebrate the professional staff that supports our academic programs and our administrative operations. Their hard work and sincere commitment on a day-to-day basis are the source of much of Drexel's energy. And in particular this year, we celebrate the unique talents, the innovative spirit, and the true excellence of our faculty. Our professors are the core of our identity as a great research university. Their achievements drive Drexel's reputation and help generations of students pursue knowledge and achieve success. The faculty perspective will be the focus of our keynote address from our colleague, Paula Morantz-Cohen. Dr. Cohen is an inspired teacher, scholar, leader, and ambassador for Drexel. I'll have the privilege of introducing her in a few minutes. But first, I want to take a moment to speak to this assembled community in specific terms about my absolute commitment to all of you to keep the academic enterprise at the center of our university. That commitment has driven every decision that I have made in the last 4 years. It's reflected in our strategic plan and strongly supported by our Board of Trustees. And it's borne out by a fundamental analysis of where we dedicate Drexel's resources. Looking at our most recent numbers, we spend about $38,000 a year on educational expenditures per full-time equivalent student at the university. That's several thousand more than the average of our closest peer group. Our faculty headcount is 43% of our full-time employee headcount. That's far more than our peers. And I want to share another notable number because I don't think it's widely known or appreciated. 84% of our direct capital expenditure is directed to projects that serve academics as compared to non-academic or residential purposes. That's 84 cents of every dollar going to an academic project. That hasn't always been the case. Right before the economic downturn in 2008 rocked higher education like it did every other industry, the three main categories of capital expenditures, academic, non-academic, and residential projects, essentially converged. Each represented about a third of the total. Then in 2009, the year of the Great Recession, the proportional spending on academics dropped precipitously to about 20%. Revenues were falling, and in Drexel's case, previous commitments to non-academic projects ate up an unsustainable percentage of our resources. So that history was the backdrop to the many conversations I had with faculty when I took office. They could see, as I could, that the recovery would be slow and tenuous. And they said, loud and clear, that for us to continue to fulfill our core promises to students and to society, investment in academic projects have to be our first priority. And they were absolutely right. And in the years since, academic investment has been our #1 budgetary priority, any way you look at it. In fiscal 2014, the university invested $21.4 million of new funding from the operating budget in academic initiatives, and that's in addition to capital spending. Last year, 45% of all new strategic investments were academic in nature. And this year, 61% of the President's strategic fund is being invested in academic projects. That's up from 34% last year and 11% when I started. So those statistics might be surprising because we've continued to pursue transformative high-profile projects outside the traditional academic sphere. The momentum that President Papadakis helped generate that put Drexel back on the map has only accelerated, and everyone is seeing it and experiencing it. What changed, though, is the first question we ask when we vet our major projects. Can this be done without shifting our focus from academics? So we build Perlman Plaza, a public space that Drexel has sorely needed, which will improve the experience of our students, faculty, professional staff, and neighbors alike. And we can do it because Ray Perlman shares our vision for community and fully funded this project based on his passion for community gathering spaces. We begin to transform two major commercial arteries on campus, Chestnut Street and Lancaster Avenue, with major residential and retail complexes. And the full investment and the full risk are assumed by American Campus Communities, a national developer with experience in these mixed-use projects on university campuses. We build an infrastructure to help our students, faculty, and professional staff serve the community and build partnerships with our neighbors from Mantua and Powelton. And benefactors like Dana and David Dornsife and the late Phil Lindy make those projects their own and fully fund these endeavors based on their commitment to urban revitalization. We pursue our vision for the innovation neighborhood at the gateway to our University City campus, in a long-term project that will change the center of gravity in Philadelphia forever. And more than a dozen national developers are now competing to be the ones to bring that investment that will make it happen. So all that activity tells me that we've identified a new competitive advantage to being a modern urban university. We have no shortage of partners, both philanthropists and investors, ready to support our shared vision. Now let me be clear, each of those projects will have a huge positive impact on our academic enterprise in the long term. From the recruitment effects of a first-class campus environment and a safe and vibrant neighborhood, to the academic space and the research and co-op opportunities that will build into the innovation neighborhood. But there are no short-term trade-offs. These projects do not and will not impinge on our ability to commit to invest in academics. And we continue, in addition, to overhaul the way we do Drexel's administrative work so we can better target our resources for academic purposes. As James noted, we're implementing responsibility center management as the cornerstone of our budgeting process. What that means academically is that our colleges and schools who earn most of the revenue will now keep most of the revenue. They'll decide how to invest it. They'll pay their own expenses, including those of Drexel's administrative units, and those administrative units in turn must operate now with unprecedented transparency and accountability, much more than ever before. So the connection between our academic priorities and our budget will be clearer than ever before under responsibility center management. Putting academics in the foreground is also an impetus for an announcement I'd like to make today. The next provost of the university will carry the title of Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs. And with that change, the Dean of the College of Medicine, Dr. Daniel Shidlow, will now report to the Provost and the Executive Vice President for Academic Matters. So that's another step in our continued pursuit of the one university ideal. Medicine is a central element to our vision for the future of Drexel. And the College of Medicine deserves to be treated as a part of our core academic enterprise. The elevation of the provost position means that our national search for the right candidate is a watershed moment for Drexel. Our chief academic officer will have more responsibility and more authority and more impact than ever before. This is the right moment for me to recognize Dr. Mark Greenberg, Drexel's provost for the last 6 years. We've had a close partnership since the first day I arrived, and his service as provost and senior vice president was marked with the same qualities that have characterized his decades at Drexel: wisdom, creativity, collegiality, and a warm and gracious spirit. He has left our academic enterprise much better than when he found it, and we owe Mark our profound thanks for a job well done. Now Mark has finished his term, and I'm confident that the search committee, led by Professor John Rich, will find candidates who are well-matched to the institution that Drexel has become and aspires to be. And I urge all of you to take advantage of the many opportunities that will come to provide advice and counsel to the committee. It's one of the best ways for you to make your priorities part of that conversation. I know that the pace of change at Drexel has not slackened, and I doubt it ever will. But it is not only the faculty and the deans who keep our academic goals at the center of their plans. I reaffirm to you today that the university administration and the Board of Trustees do absolutely the same, and we will continue to do so for as long as we are privileged to lead this great university. This in the end, is an institution about teaching and discovery. Everything we do must serve those noble purposes. So now I'm pleased to turn to our keynote speaker. Paula Marantz-Cohn is both a singular figure at the university and at the same time, quintessentially, Drexel. Paula has been a member of Drexel's faculty for more than 30 years, rising to the level of Distinguished Professor of English. She's also one of the university's great teachers. In fact, she received the Lindback Distinguished Teaching Award, our most prestigious recognition for excellence in teaching. At the same time, she has stepped up to meet the big challenges facing Drexel. Paula developed our original corporate communications program, directed the literature major, which is now the English major, and co-created the Great Works Symposium, one of our most dynamic intellectual offerings. Now, as the new dean of the Pennoni Honors College, she is charged with ensuring that our very best students are challenged and fulfilled in their pursuits. Paula is also one of Drexel's great ambassadors. She's the author of 4 scholarly books and many important essays, and co-editor of the Journal of Modern Literature. She's a celebrated and popular novelist and commentator, recognized by reviewers from the Literary Guild to the Wall Street Journal. And for a decade, she's hosted the Drexel Interview for public television outlets nationwide. I sat in the interview chair opposite Paula. She's a little bit intimidating. It was very challenging, but it was also a lot of fun, and the Drexel Interview is a great credit to our university. So please join me in welcoming a friend and an outstanding colleague, Dr. Paula Marantz-Cohn.
Can everybody hear me? Yes? President Fry, Provost Herbert, Drexel administrators, Board of Trustees, staff, guests, and of course, faculty and students. Thank you for inviting me to speak to you today at the beginning of this new academic year. I've experienced many of these new beginnings at Drexel. They always give me a sense of excitement and possibility. This one especially. For I'm addressing you today as a longtime faculty member who has just taken on a new role as Dean of the Pennoni Honors College. It may seem ironic that I am talking to you about teaching at this point of transition into administration, but it also makes sense. Taking on a new role allows me to see my teaching career more clearly and to recognize its importance in shaping who I am and what I value. I also see my position as dean as less a shift in direction and more an extension of my work as a teacher and scholar. It reflects years of getting to know this institution from the most essential and foundational of perspectives. A university, after all, is built on its teachers and researchers. I came to Drexel 32 years ago, when this institution was very different from what it is today. It had only recently ceased to be an institute of technology under its then president, William W. Hagerty. President Hagerty, whose portrait in the library gives some idea of his formidable personality, had decided that Drexel should be a more well-rounded institution, though one still tilted strongly toward engineering and technology. As an English professor, coming from an undergraduate and graduate institution devoted to the liberal arts, I was at first confused by Drexel's culture. My field of expertise was the 19th century English novel, but no one seemed to care much about novels when I arrived here. Drexel's 10-week term made it difficult to teach long books, and students during my early years did not put novel reading high on their list of priorities. A lot has changed since then. Drexel has evolved into a comprehensive university under our last president, Konstantin Papadakis, And this evolution has continued under our current president, John Fry. We now have an English major with exceptionally engaged students, alongside other programs that were marginal or non-existent when I first came. We still have 10-week terms, but I've found ways to teach long books within that time frame. A course on Bleak House, Charles Dickens' longest novel, last fall, for example, and another course on James Joyce's Ulysses, a book not only long, but notoriously difficult, this past spring. I taught these books to students who assured me they enjoyed reading them. But even as this university has changed in ways that please me, I look back to my early years at Drexel with gratitude. For it was during that period that I learned to teach, or rather, I learned the craft of teaching. The art of teaching is another matter, and it is the nature of an art to never be completely mastered. It was also during this early period that I came to appreciate and admire Drexel students. I say Drexel students because I think there is such a thing, a consistent type that persists from then until now. My students these days are certainly more culturally savvy and diverse than they once were, but their fundamental character has remained unchanged. By character, I am referring to qualities that have a moral as well as an intellectual aspect, in the way the great 19th century novelist George Eliot taught me to understand this. A state of being, as she wrote, in which we endeavor to see what we are capable of in the highest sense. Although I've had students over the years who were unmotivated or disengaged, these have been the exceptions. Most Drexel students can be characterized by the following constellation of qualities: curiosity, tenacity, a desire to problem solve, a fundamental integrity and fairness, and a willingness to suspend judgment until all the facts are in. These, as I said, are moral qualities as well as intellectual ones. Perhaps most college students, no matter where they go to school, have many of these qualities. Anyone who is 18 to 23 years old is bound to be more open to life than people who are older and more established in a routine. But Drexel students, in choosing to attend a co-op school in an urban setting, and in having the resilience, maturity, and skills to weather the 10-week term, have these qualities, I think, in greater abundance. So teaching Drexel students has been a challenging and enriching experience for me on many levels. And for this reason, I've taken time to think about what I've learned. I'd like to share some of my conclusions with you. Teaching, as I understand it, can take three forms. I'm generalizing here, of course. Teaching takes many forms, and with the help of advancing technology, is bound to take many more. Still, I think one can group the many forms of teaching under three categories. And those of you at the vanguard of pedagogical theory and practice, please be indulgent of my simplifying for the purpose of my argument here. The first kind of teaching involves a large group, which is to say a lecture class. Lectures can be exciting both to teach and to attend, and they have the advantage of being able to be easily transmitted online. They can also incorporate a degree of interactivity, though of a prescribed and non-individualized kind. In the ideal lecture, the hall or space where it is received becomes electric. A performance is underway, at its best, an Academy Award Level 1. The second kind of teaching involves a smaller group and happens ideally around a seminar table, though it can also work in a conventional classroom and online, in one-on-one conference, or in a laboratory. This is the so-called Socratic dialogue class, where the professor leads the students, or as the case may be, a singular student, to a given end through questions and discussion. The route to learning in this way may make diversionary stops, but it is nonetheless directed and goal-oriented. It makes students contribute to the process, but the control, the roadmap, lies with the teacher. The third, and to my mind, highest form of teaching may not be teaching at all, which constitutes its paradoxical nature. It also requires a relatively small group, but its dynamic is different from the Socratic classroom. I call this kind of class the sublime conversation. The word sublime has a long history. It was used first by the Greek philosopher Longinus to refer to something lofty and elevated achieved through language. It was then elaborated in the 18th century to refer to a startling aesthetic experience that could awe and even terrify in its grandeur. The Romantic poets and philosophers of the early 19th century often connected the sublime to the uplifting influence of nature. The term has gone through subsequent shifts and turns in modernist and postmodernist philosophy, but the general sense is of something awesome that temporarily takes us out of our routine and isolation and connects us to a dazzlingly larger sense of life. My notion of a sublime conversation in a classroom draws loosely on many of these ideas. It refers to a rhetorical engagement that is of the most elevated, inspired, and organic kind. In this sort of class, ideas flow freely and spontaneously as learning takes a new form and moves to a higher level. The teacher is there, nominally directing the conversation, but really having faded from view or having become one of many voices as everyone participates in the acquisition of knowledge. The feeling in such a class is buoyant, exhilarating in a way hard to explain after the fact. For me as a teacher, the sublime conversation class, while being the most delightful, is also the most rare. It can only happen when a class is a certain size, when the subject matter lends itself to the free play of mind, as Henry James put it, and when the students themselves are in the mood to engage with each other with generosity and intellectual vigor. One sour individual, one ill-timed phone call, one lazy or bullshitting response, and the conversation can be derailed. As a result, as I said, these sorts of classes are rare. During my own undergraduate career, I had only one course that generated them, and not on a regular basis. As a teacher, I feel lucky to have a few class sessions a year that fall into this category. But if such classes are rare, the experience itself need not be. At Drexel these days, I see students, faculty, and staff experiencing them outside the classroom all the time. I feel I engage in them on a regular basis, and they have been crucial to invigorating my teaching, research, and writing. How does one get such a conversation to happen? One of the most noteworthy aspects of Drexel, as it has evolved under President Fry, has been the development of the campus, by which I mean not just the impressive buildings that have been erected, but the spaces within and outside these buildings where people can congregate. This design plan has been more important to the university's pedagogical mission than is generally acknowledged. For these spaces function like multiple agoras, the term used for the meeting place in the Greek city-state where citizens came together to air their views, and which was conducive to the atmosphere of genius that the theologian John Henry Newman believed existed in Athens during this period. In the many new and revitalized spaces at Drexel today, we can encounter each other serendipitously, as President Fry has put it. We never know who will pass by, sit down, share a snack or a meal, and engage with us in conversation. Let me take a moment to address this last point, the relationship of food to conversation. I can't tell you how few places there used to be to eat on the Drexel campus. Now there are many, and this has greatly increased the likelihood that a sublime conversation will happen. The novelist and critic Virginia Woolf explained how this seemingly trivial idea is not trivial at all in her famous essay, A Room of One's Own. Early in the essay, she describes a meal taken at Oxbridge, her fictional amalgam of the great British universities, Oxford and Cambridge. After chronicling each course of the meal in delectable detail, she concludes, and I quote, "Thus by degrees was lit, halfway down the spine, which is the seat of the soul, the profound, subtle, and subterranean glow, which is the rich yellow flame of rational intercourse. The rich yellow flame of rational intercourse. This is Wolf's way of referring to a sublime conversation as it occurred over a meal at Oxbridge. For another example of what I'm talking about, we can reach further back in time to Samuel Johnson, the great 18th century essayist, novelist, and compiler of the first major English dictionary. Dr. Johnson, considered the most educated man of his age, was known to meet his friends for dinner on a regular basis and spend hours in animated, wide-ranging talk. John Boswell, his friend and biographer, wrote The Life of Johnson, trying to recreate these sublime conversations. That book is worth reading for many reasons, not least among them that it gives us something to aspire to when we meet with friends at Savino's. I often tell high school students when they ask me how to assess the quality of a university that they should visit the cafeteria, the student center, the area restaurants and coffee shops, and the faculty dining hall, and eavesdrop. What sorts of conversations are going on? How animated and engaged are the students and the professors? I'm proud to say that Drexel excels in this regard. The conversations across this campus are, I can attest, having both taken part in them and eavesdropped on them, impressive in their range and liveliness. If, for example, you go at noon to the faculty club on the 6th floor of McAllister Hall, you will invariably find a group of engineering professors, you know who you are, seated at the center table, talking animatedly about subjects from science to art to politics. Such sites are where the intellectual life of the university is on display, and the conversations that happen in these places can lead to new insights and discoveries. But I want to put practical ends aside as I conclude this talk by returning to where I began and speaking about conversations in the humanities classroom. Although other disciplines certainly can engage in sublime conversations, the humanities are where they most readily happen on the undergraduate level. But this is also where the results of such conversations are hardest to quantify, which is one of the reasons why these disciplines are facing a crisis right now. In a straitened economy, with large numbers of students suffering under the burden of college debt, many people are questioning the purpose of studying history, literature, philosophy, and other humanities disciplines. It's not easy to assess the value of these fields. You can't weigh and measure a sublime conversation, and trying to do so can shut it down. So here's my rationale, my apologia for the humanities. And for what even those of you, and I'm speaking to the students who I assume are in the back here, who are majoring in technical or more practically oriented fields should try to take courses in these disciplines while you are at Drexel. The fact is that reading great books and studying the great works and ideas of culture spur a kind of thinking, and with it a kind of conversation that make our lives more interesting. Indeed, if you were to ask me what the humanities are for, and beyond that, what a university education is for, I would have to say, to make life more interesting. This may seem silly on first hearing. Is it worth paying so much money and devoting so much time to making life more interesting? The answer, I believe, is yes. For if life becomes more interesting to you, you become more curious, more questioning of the world around you. In the process, you become more interesting to other people. They want to talk to you, to get your take on things. And so your circle of acquaintance broadens and deepens. One reason you go to a university, especially a university like Drexel, is to train in a field so as to get a job and make a living. But that is only one part of why you go. The other part can't be so simply expressed. For to be educated is not to be trained in any given area or achieve a high earning power or a delineated outcome. It is to look with wonder at the world around you in all its vastness and possibility. It is to be awed by the fact that you are alive, have the chance to share that life with others, and gain the resources to make it a source of meaning and fulfillment. This university is especially good at helping students move toward this profound, if ineffable, goal, while also giving them the skills to succeed more practically in the world. Drexel students, staff, and faculty surprise and delight me every day, and I look forward to many more sublime conversations with them in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paula. That was really wonderful. It's now my great pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. Ludo Scheffer. Ludo is a teaching professor of psychology in the College of Arts and Sciences and chair of the Faculty Senate. Ludo will offer us some remarks on behalf of the Senate. Ludo? Okay, my bad. Just getting the hang of this. We're actually going to have a musical performance first, and then Dr. Scheffer.
Oh
Now let's try again. Without further ado, Ludo Shepard.
Some people get a one-shot moment of fame. I now have two. Thank you, James. And thank you, Paula, for an inspiring talk. The serial positioning effect in memory research suggests that information presented first and information presented last is best remembered, and that means that now I'm really hungry. Dear Chairman Greenewald, members of the Board of Trustees, President Fry, Interim Provost Herbert, distinguished guests, colleagues, students, and staff of this amazing place we call our house. This is another amazing day, and this year we are celebrating the Year of the Faculty. And we have to thank a few people for that in the Provost office who started that conversation. Mary Beth, Denise, Joanne, and Donna started that talk with Mark about it. Mark reached out to me, and then James, Mark, and I said, let's talk about the Year of the Faculty, and who am I to disagree with the focus on the faculty? Tenured track, teaching, clinical, and research, and adjunct faculty. If we all are not on the same page, our students will not have a good experience. So let's celebrate our very own this year. The process of one speaker and a streamlined announcement process of new and returning faculty was also created, as you will find out later. You've heard a few times that efficiency matters. I couldn't agree more. It gives me a few minutes extra for my speech. Thank you. So last year at Convocation, I spoke about the President's vision of one university. I suggested that we're all in this together, board members, administrators, staff, faculty, students, and our external stakeholders. One part of the enterprise, called Drexel University, cannot succeed when the other parts are not succeeding, and you've heard President Fry say that we all need to be successful. So you may remember that Chairman Greenewald, President Fry, Provost Greenberg, Senior Vice President Tucker, and undergraduate and graduate students, and I were trying to put together a puzzle of shared governance, dragon style. I can honestly say that even though we're all experiencing some challenges, we are making significant progress in putting together this one seamless picture of a dragon. We are clearly on the road to a better DU product, and that's good for all of us. I was going to do something similar this time, but you see that they moved the chairs up, and I got legal advice from the General Counsel that it would not be advisable. But I want to ask you today, what is our product? Or better, who is our product? While I do not like the term, but the preeminent products of our university are knowledge and the Drexel grad, a student who successfully completes his or her education at our institution. And at the request of Chairman Greenewald, although he may not recognize that, done last night right before the Dornside's amazing presentation about their water sanitation and hygiene initiatives in Africa based on the premise that water is a basic human right, I will read a poem. You guessed it, Mark is not here, but William Blake, entitled The Schoolboy. So now we've had a rabbi, we had a faculty member in literature, and a psychologist going to read a poem. It's called The Schoolboy. I love to rise in the summer morn when the birds sing on every tree, the distant huntsman winds his horn, and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet symphony. But to go to school on a summer morn, oh, it drive all joy away. Under a cruel eye outworn, the little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. Ah, then at times I drooping sit and spend many an anxious hour, nor in my books can I take delight, nor sit in learning's bower, worn through with the dreary shower. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child, when fierce annoyed, but droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? Oh, father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day, by sorrow and care's dismay, how shall the summer arise in joy? Or the summer's fruit appear? Or how shall we gather what griefs destroy, or bless the mellowing year, when the blasts of winter appear? What this poem, I think, should inspire us to think about is the wonderment of this schoolboy about things called life in school in a university. Where our immediate past provost, a Blake scholar, would read one thing in the poem, our current interim provost, a psychologist, would suggest that we need to stop living inside our head and with our worries, and in that sense, live in reality. I would like to see this poem actually as a launching pad for some thoughts about our students, our future alums as they are referred to now. I suggest we see our quote-unquote schoolboy as the Drexel student who we want to see graduate. The Drexel grad is a Drexel dragon, and we all have to think about what makes this dragon so unique. Lots of universities and colleges graduate students. But what makes a Drexel student unique? What do our curricula, lab experiences, co-op experiences, and our informal learning places contribute to ultimately create a Drexel dragon? Who is this dragon? To answer that, I reach for a simple message called habit of mind. What is the habit of mind that sets a Drexel grad apart from all other graduates? What makes him or her unique? Because I believe if we can say what a Drexel grad looks like, then in our education, research labs, co-op activities, and informal learning spaces, we can work collectively and intentionally to accomplish that. And that is more than just an addition, as Gestalt humanistic psychology says. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I hope that the provost approves of something non-cognitive behavioral in an approach. The Drexel grad is more than adding up the DSLPs. She has to be more than that. But the question is, who is our Drexel graduate? My thinking about the Drexel grad's habit of mind is not unique, but let me offer my 2 cents. Description has to be something I could put on the back of a postcard and I can send home. It is something that should create synergy instead of addition. It ought to be realized through any curriculum of each major in their own way. It has to be inspiring, we all have to work towards it, and it has to be why people want to come here. So here are my 2 euros, as we say in my country. It's worth more than 2 cents. Although it's on the decline. The dragon that I talk about is reflected in the word Drexel. So I'm going to use the letters for the word Drexel to kind of say what I think is who we look for. The first is D, for daring, breaking boundaries, asking the unasked questions, challenging established practices, mindful of traditions, but not hindered by them either. The R stands for resourceful, seeking new knowledge both by creating and recreating, building collaborations in new ways. The project that the Durenside started created and creates all kinds of new opportunities for the local community. Kids can now actually go to school and women can now actually take jobs instead of walking 4.6 miles a day to get some gallons of water. But they also create opportunities for our faculty and students for research, co-op, and service. The E, of course, stands for entrepreneurial, a seeker of knowledge, inventions to better society and the life of all. The X stands for extender. Yeah, Excite Center doesn't use the E either, so I just take that liberty too. It extends beyond, so it extends knowledge beyond the classroom and beyond traditional boundaries. It finds new ways of knowing, and this finds new ways of collaboration guided by a clear sense of purpose. The other E stands for energizer, not the Energizer Bunny. Not someone to sit back, but action-oriented. Someone who is moving things, shaking things up, who challenges, who leads, but who also inspires others to take the lead. And she or he is a lifelong learner, creating a sense that learning is an ongoing process requiring us to challenge ourselves and others to continue to explore. The one university vision of the president is what ought to make this dragon possible. Through a cross-discipline collaboration, translational endeavors, and through new moments of synergy, we, as the faculty, with the administration support, have to create environments and opportunities to facilitate that. This is the year of the faculty, and yes, we play a critical role in helping to shape this. But we all, faculty, staff, administration, and board of trustees, have to further develop and create these environments through our curricular labs, co-op, and informal learning spaces to foster the Drexel dragon. Our task is to make that happen, all of us on the same page with the same mindset. My dragon is just a suggestion. I'm not married to my interpretation, but we ought to think about who this Drexel graduate is. As Randy Dykey, our new VP for Enrollment Management and Student Success says, and I paraphrase, we're going to recruit alumni. If that is true, we better know what the alumni dragon looks like and how we will be different from all other graduates around the nation, because that should inform what we do in our classrooms and in the other environments. Let this be our best year ever. Have an awesome year, and in the famous chant of the Drexel backpack, supported by Eric Zilmer, let's go Dragons. Thank you.
Thank you, Ludo. I'm delighted to introduce now Dr. Ira Taffer, Chair of the Board of Governors of the Alumni Association and the recipient of 2 Drexel degrees in 1979 and 1983. Dr. Taffer brings greetings from the Drexel alumni. Ira?
Thank you, Provost Herbert, and good afternoon. It's an honor to represent more than 150,000 Drexel alumni around the world. As chair of the Alumni Association's Board of Governors, Drexel alumni remember fondly the connections we made, the outstanding academic preparation we received, and definitely the dedicated and demanding professors with whom we studied. Today, having the opportunity to serve in the academic enterprise as interim department head, I'm reminded again of how strong the faculty tradition is at Drexel and how accomplished our faculty members are. As Alumni Association governors, my colleagues and I marvel at the impact the university has. And we know that the faculty is the source of much of that impact. We're committed to making our close-knit alumni community a resource for today's Drexel, including the faculty. I've seen alumni engagement grow stronger each year, and I'm proud to help continue that trend. So on behalf of my fellow alumni, congratulations on the start of a new year. Welcome to all our new students and employees. Welcome back to everyone who returns for another year, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Ira. This university exists to serve one of the most outstanding groups of students in the nation. Drexel students are represented by several student government organizations, and I'd like to welcome some of their leaders. First, Kevin Murray, Vice President of the Undergraduate Student Government Association, will offer greetings on behalf of the undergraduate students of the university.
Thank you, Provost. My name is Kevin Murray, and I'm the Vice President of the Undergraduate Student Government Association, and I'm very excited to be here today representing our student body. Convocation is such an important day every year as it marks and celebrates the opening of our academic calendar. As Drexel students, we are challenged throughout the year, either in class or co-op. So today sets as a marker to look and refresh for the next 12 months. It is energizing to see such a variety of Drexel Dragons here today, from our president and trustees, to our executive administration, our deans and valued faculty, to our hardworking staff, and finally, the committed student body. Faculty, staff, and administration, we thank you for working hard and ask you to continually inspire our successes in and out of the classroom. Students, I hope that you found your first 2 weeks of this school year challenging yet worthwhile, and I'm confident that you have found your Drexel education diverse yet focused. Every person in this room and everyone in the Drexel community needs to focus on working as a team during 2014-2015 and not just as a group. This past weekend in Washington, D.C. at the National Student Summit, I learned the difference between a group and a team. A group is made up of individuals with their own passions and desires, but a team is individuals that come together with those passions and desires in mind, but with a greater and higher goal. It is evident to me as students that we need to be a part of the Drexel team, to strive and work as a team all year, and to stay aligned with our university's mission. I ask of you all today, will we be working as individual groups, or can we work together as one Drexel team? I cannot believe that I am a few short months away from graduation, but if I have one piece of advice, it is to challenge yourself, socially and academically, as you will learn more about yourself from pushing your own limits than you even thought possible, and to remember to enjoy every moment. Thank you all, and enjoy this year.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much, Kevin. Now I'd like to introduce Nicholas Thompson, President of the Graduate Student Association, to offer greetings on behalf of Drexel's graduate students.
Thank you, Provost, and I think I speak for everybody here that next time we should request a little less velvet. As we all know, this is the year of faculty, the year to celebrate those who teach, mentor, and guide students through our time here at Drexel and beyond. In addition to the task of aiding students, our faculty also take on research endeavors, serve as experts on committees and boards worldwide, and even chronicle their research and experience into best-selling books and other publications. Over the past year at Drexel, I've enjoyed the generosity and expertise of numerous faculty members, especially within the School of Public Health. I have worked personally with faculty who are practicing physicians at local hospitals, met with faculty who have engaged in global health research worldwide, spoken with professors quoted in the media, and most importantly, shared some laughs in several professors' offices. Long story short, our faculty are phenomenal. They have impacted their respective school or program, the Drexel community, Philadelphia, the nation, and the world. Now, Shonda Rhimes, who is not faculty, but is instead the writer of Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder, and my own personal favorite, Scandal, is an iconic screenwriter, director, and producer. Recently, Shonda gave her advice in the form of a comic. The premise of her advice is that while a lot of people dream, others, the really happy, successful, interesting, engaged, and powerful people, are busy doing. In order for all you doers to do incredible things, great teachers must stand by you, keep you grounded yet lift you up, and most importantly, encourage you to take the chance to step out of your comfort zone. I mean, where would we really be if Shonda Rhimes hadn't written these great shows? I encourage each and every one of you to step out of your comfort zone. Speak to a faculty member about her research, read her new book, or just go meet with her to hear about her life's experiences. She'll be happy to share it with you, and you'll undoubtedly learn something new that may trigger an idea for you to incorporate into your own life. All I know is that you won't know what's out there until you actually put yourself out there. Take that chance. Maybe you'll make a mistake. And as my parents and friends can attest, I've made a few, and yet I'm here speaking to you right now. So I challenge all of my fellow graduate students to make this the year of exploration, connections, and engagement. Thank you, and here's to a great year.
Thank you, Nicholas. So each year at this ceremony, we ask our deans and directors to welcome the new full-time faculty who have joined us and to recognize our returning faculty. I ask that each new faculty member stand when his or her name is called. After all new faculty are introduced, the returning faculty of the academic unit will be asked to stand. Please remain standing until your dean or director finishes. And I ask that the audience hold applause until all the faculty of that college are standing. So let me begin with our new deans. I'm pleased to introduce once again Dean Paula Morantz-Cohen of the Pennoni Honors College. This is her first convocation as dean. Paula?
The Pennoni Honors College is an unusual college in that it draws faculty from across the university to teach and mentor students. So I'm going to ask faculty and staff members who have taught or mentored students in the Honors College over the past 3 years to please rise. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. I'm pleased to introduce Dean Nancy Butler-Songer of the School of Education, participating in her first convocation since joining Drexel. Welcome, Dr. Songer.
Good afternoon. I'm pleased to introduce the new faculty of the School of Education, and will you please stand when I announce your name? Dr. Kristen Betts, who's returning to Drexel, Dr. Brent Edwards, Dr. Rod Givens, Dr. Marlene Hickowitz, and Dr. Kathleen Provenzano. Please join me in welcoming them and all of our faculty in the School of Education. Would the rest of the School of Education faculty please rise? Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm pleased to introduce now Dean Anna Diaz-Rue of the School of Public Health, participating in her first convocation at Drexel. Welcome, Dr. Diaz-Rue.
Good morning. I'm delighted to introduce the new faculty of the School of Public Health. Ghassan Hamra, Assistant Professor of Environmental and Occupational Health. Please rise. Felice Lee-Sherbin, Assistant Professor of Epidemiology and Biostatistics. Genevieve Pancampter, Assistant Professor of Health Management and Policy. Jonathan Pirtle, Assistant Professor of Health Management and Policy, Alexis Roth, Assistant Professor of Community Health and Prevention, and Yung Yang, Assistant Research Professor of Epidemiology and Biostatistics. Please join me in welcoming them and all our faculty. Would the rest of our faculty please rise?
Thank you, Anna. I'm pleased to introduce Craig Newshafer, Director of the A.J. Drexel Autism Institute. Craig?
Thank you, James. I'd like to introduce new faculty in the A.J. Drexel Autism Institute. Dr. Diana Robbins, Associate Professor and leader of our Early Detection and Intervention Program, and Dr. Nathaniel Snyder, Assistant Professor in the Modifiable Risk Factors Program. I'd also like to acknowledge Dr. Paul Shattuck. He's traveling for research today. He is an Associate Professor and Director of our Life Course Outcomes Program. Please welcome these folks to Drexel.
Thank you, Craig. Now I'm pleased to introduce Dean Donna Marasco of the College of Arts and Sciences.
It is my sincere pleasure to introduce the talented individuals who are joining the committed faculty of the College of Arts and Sciences. In the Department of Biodiversity, Earth, and Environmental Science, Dr. Loik van der Loosen. In the Department of Biology, Dr. John Bethay, new head of the department. The Department of Chemistry, Dr. Lee Hoffman. In the Department of Culture and Communication, Ms. Marilyn Jennifer Musket. In the Department of English and Philosophy, Dr. Kirsten Kashoff, Dr. Adam Knowles, and Dr. Irvin Peckham, head of our freshman writing program. In the Department of History and Politics, Dr. Philip Ayoub, Dr. Johnny Bakhtarai, Dr. Elva Orcos Mendoza, Dr. Jose Tapia Granados. In the Department of Mathematics, Dr. Tawfik Meklai. In the Department of Physics, Dr. Naoko Korashi Nielsen. In the Department of Psychology, Dr. Kathy Bolton, Dr. Paige Davis. I don't see her getting up. We congratulate her on having her baby and having both Dr. Davis and her baby joining our family. Dr. Nancy Ratano Lee and Dr. Fangjing Zhang. I ask you to join me in welcoming them, but importantly in supporting them and the faculty of the College of Arts and Sciences in their pursuit of the sublime conversation. Will the rest of the faculty please rise?
Thank you very much, Donna. I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Banu Orderao, Director of the School of Biomedical Engineering, Science, and Health Systems. After 17 years founding director of the school, Dr. Orderao will step up at the end of this year, continuing in her position as H.H. Sun Professor and also assuming a new role advising the President on global innovation partnerships. Banu.
It is my special pleasure to introduce our new teaching faculty, Jamie Doherty, to the School of Biomedical Engineering, Science and Health Systems. Please join me in welcoming her and all our faculty with the rest of the Biomed faculty. Please rise.
Thank you, Bonnie. I'm pleased to introduce Associate Dean Paul Jensen of the Bennett S. LeBeau College of Business. Dr. Jensen is representing Dr. Frank Linehan, who's traveling in China.
I'm pleased to introduce the new faculty in the LeBeau College of Business. Dr. Xin Dai, Assistant Professor of Accounting. Dr. Jin-Wook Lee, Assistant Clinical Professor, Decision Sciences. Dr. Andre Kerman, Associate Professor, Economics. Dr. Matthew Friedman, Associate Professor, Economics. Dr. Philip Luck, Assistant Professor, Economics. Dr. John Robinson, Assistant Clinical Professor, Finance. Dr. Jay Lee, Assistant Professor of Management. Dr. Lauren Dinichevitz, Assistant Professor of Management. Dr. Rajiv Nag, Assistant Professor of Management. Dr. Boryana Dimitrova, Assistant Clinical Professor of Marketing. Dr. Chen Wang, Assistant Professor of Marketing. And Dr. Ellie Feit, Assistant Professor of Marketing. Please join me in welcoming them and all our faculty. Would the rest of the LeBeau College of Business faculty please rise?
Thank you, Paul. I'm pleased to introduce Dean David Fensky of the College of Computing and Informatics.
I'm pleased to introduce the new faculty of the College of Computing and Informatics. Please stand as I call your names. Patrick Craven, John D'Ignazio, Jane Greenberg, Tony Grubasek, Gabrielle Marcoux, Alan Murray, Julia Rubin, Brian Stewart, Polly Tremblay, and Philip Vokalos, and Al Bynum. Please, will the College of Computing and Informatics please rise?
Thank you, David. I'm pleased to introduce Michelle Marcolongo, the Department Head and Professor of Material Sciences and Engineering. Dr. Marcolongo is representing Dean Joe Hughes of the College of Engineering. Michelle?
Good morning. I'm honored to introduce the new innovative faculty of the College of Engineering. From the Department of Chemical and Biological Engineering, Nicholas Alvarez, Joshua Schneider, Maureen Tang. From Civil, Architectural, and Environmental Engineering, Ling Chun Lo. And from Mechanical Engineering and Mechanics, Lee Sin Han. Please join me in welcoming them and all of our faculty, and with the rest of the engineering faculty, please rise.
Thank you. I'm pleased to introduce Dean Donna DeCarolis of the Close School of Entrepreneurship. Donna?
I am delighted to introduce our new faculty member at the Charles C. Close School of Entrepreneurship, Dr. Aslam Guvenran Gunel. Please join me in welcoming her and the rest of our returning faculty. With the rest of the Close School faculty, please rise.
Thank you, Donna. I'm pleased to introduce Jonathan Deutsch, Director of the Center for Hospitality and Sports Management. Jonathan?
Thank you. On behalf of Dr. Jonathan Deutsch, I am pleased to introduce our new faculty of the Center for Hospitality and Sport Management. Mr. Lawrence Cohen from the Department of Sport Management and Jacob Lon, Assistant Professor in Food Science. Please join me in welcoming them and all of our faculty in this our inaugural year. Will the rest of the Hospitality and Sport Management faculty please rise?
Thank you. I didn't think that was Jonathan. I'm pleased to introduce Dean Roger Dennis of our law school, whose faculty marched for the first time this year under the banner of their new name, the Thomas R. Klein School of Law.
I'm
pleased to introduce the faculty of the Thomas R. Klein School of Law. It has a very good ring to it, doesn't it? Our new faculty member this year is Professor Amy Landers, who directs our intellectual property program. Please join me in welcoming her and all of our faculty. Will the rest of the Klein School of Law faculty please rise?
I'm pleased to introduce Dean Alan Savinson of the Antoinette Westfall College of Media Arts and Design. Alan?
I am privileged to introduce the new faculty of the Westfall College of Media Arts and Design. Daniel Chung, Professor of Architecture, Department of Architecture and Interiors. Louis Colburn, Professor of Fine Arts, Department of Art and Art History. Robert Lloyd, Professor of Digital Media. Valerie Eiffel, Professor of Dance, Department of Performing Arts. Tom Quinn, Professor of Film and Video, Department of Cinema and Television. Joshua Godvin, Professor of Graphic Design, Department of Design. Ryan Schwab, Professor of Music Industry, Department of Art and Entertainment Enterprise. Please join me in welcoming them and all of our faculty. With the rest of the Media Arts and Design faculty, please rise.
Now I'm pleased to introduce Dean Daniel Shidlow of the College of Medicine. Dan?
It is a distinct privilege and an honor to be the first dean of the College of Medicine since Drexel University gave it its name, and the first dean going back to the beginnings of the predecessor schools almost 150 years ago, to be standing in the bosom of a university. The medical school has 2,500 affiliate faculty, over 500 full-time faculty. We asked them not to come. So we have a very distinguished delegation. However, I would like to welcome the new faculty, Dr. Damien Croft, Dr. Luisa Galdi, Dr. Danielle Cullen, Dr. Jasjit Bosang, and it gives me a great pleasure to introduce our new Vice Dean for Education Academic Affairs, Dr. Valerie Weber, and the rest of the College of Medicine faculty, please stand up.
Now it gives me pleasure to introduce Dean Gloria Donnelly of the College of Nursing and Health Professions.
It is my pleasure to introduce the new faculty in the College of Nursing and Health Professions. In the Department of Couple and Family Therapy, Guy Diamond and Ellen Stephanie Krafthammer Ewing. In the Department of Creative Arts Therapy, Scott Horowitz and Dawn Morningstar. In the Department of Health Services Research, Brad Smith. In the Health Services Administration Program, Jesse Ballinger and Joseph Stramundo. In the Division of Nursing, Lisa Aiello Laws, Kristen Aldifer, Jane Donovan, Renata Estes, Maureen Gonzalez, Mary Kay Malley, Jamie Slaughter, Elizabeth Tomaszewski, and Mary Yost. In Nutrition Sciences, Brandy Jo Milleron and Deeptha Sukumar. In the Physician Assistant Program, Ryan Clancy. And in Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation Sciences, Margaret Finley. And in Radiologic Technology, Stephanie Maffo. Please join me in welcoming them, and will the remaining faculty from the College of Nursing and Health Professions please stand.
recognition of this being the Year of the Faculty, I'd like to acknowledge the following awards that were presented at the May 2014 Faculty Recognition Dinner. The Harold Myers Award for Distinguished Service to the University went to Catherine McCain, professor in the College of Computing and Informatics. The Alan Warthorf Award for Teaching Excellence for a junior faculty member went to Mark Hempstead, assistant professor in electrical and computer engineering. The Barbara G. Hornum Award for Teaching Excellence went to Dan Driscoll, associate professor and associate director of the Drexel Writing Center and co-director of the minor in writing in the Department of English and Philosophy. The Christian R. and Mary F. Lindback Foundation Award for Distinguished Teaching went to Catherine Steen, associate professor of history and politics in the College of Arts and Sciences. The University Award for Pedagogy and Assessment went to the Criminal Justice Study Program, Robert Kane and Cindy Rickards. At this time, I would like to thank everyone for attending this convocation ceremony. Please rise and join the Drexel University Chorus in singing the first verse of the Drexel Ode, which can be found in the program. Then please remain standing as Professor Ludo Scheffer retires the mace and the platform party leaves the stage. We will then proceed to the Great Court, where I invite you to join us all for a reception. I wish you all the very best for the coming academic year.
There was a time when we got along.